Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss what it has been like to be on ASPEN Dienogest for the last 7 months, as it has helped or not helped manage my endometriosis. I was put on ASPEN Dienogest, I believe, in July, like mid-July, because my gynecologist, after reviewing my MRI scans, came to realize that I had what was known as an endometrioma, which is indicative of endometriosis. And so I was on the generic, she decided to put me on the generic brand, which is ASPEN Dienogest, and the commercial medication for this is known as Vazan, I believe. So I wanted to tell you all about it. So I remember I started it like 3 days before my scheduled period. These are what they look like. They're tiny little pills that I have to take once a day. I tend to take them at night because that's just the easiest for me. So I'm going to go over what ASPEN Dienogest actually is. ASPEN Dienogest is a 2 milligram pill, is a Canadian generic progestin medication bioequivalent to Vazan, used to manage pelvic pain from endometriosis. It works by lowering estrogen levels to reduce endometrial tissue growth. It's taken orally once daily, commonly causes bleeding, irregularities, or headaches, and is not used for pregnancy or during lactation. So I began my journey in mid-July, 3 days before my period. It does recommend that you start it the day of your period, but I was in so much pain that I just wanted some medication to help with the agonizing pain I was getting from my endometrioma. And when I took it about 3 to 4 days before my period, what happened was my period didn't really come that month. I think I had like the tiniest bit of what people call spotting, where I would wipe and a little bit of brown stuff, reddish brown stuff I would see when I wiped myself. But other than that, nothing really happened. And I think the pain started to become manageable probably 2 weeks into the medication, when I realized that I could actually get off of the pain medication that I was on. And I realized that the Dienogest was doing its job in managing the inflammation pain that I was excruciatingly having. So I've always had very heavy periods. That's just been my whole life, and I assumed it was normal. So for me to just get this tiny bit of spotting was just amazing. I was so happy about that. And what I mean, I was a heavy bleeder when I was a kid into my adult life. I thought my bleeding pattern was normal, but everyone told me it was very heavy. I had to wear nighttime pads during the day, and even like the longest night pad you can get was still not enough for me. They would be able to catch my blood, but it would just spew out everywhere, and sometimes I'd have to wear a double pad just to protect myself from accidents. And when I stopped doing pads and went on to tampons, that's when I realized, oh, I am a heavy bleeder, because I could only use a light tampon midway through my first day of my period. Then I would have to go to regular. Then my second day, I would have to change my regular tampon like every hour, and then went, oh, I guess I have to go up a size. Then I would try super, and I would have to change my tampon every 3 hours, which was not even, I think it was even like 2 hours at a time, which was annoying, especially when I was at work and constantly having to go to the bathroom. Plus, I had to wear a pad with my tampon because I couldn't trust that I wouldn't leak, which I often did in the course of 2 hours with a super tampon. And yes, there's super plus that I should have gone on to using, but it was damn uncomfortable to wear the super, yet alone have to go up a even size larger. And then I saw I learned about like Diva cups, and they kind of scared me because like it can suction and people have like had issues with it. So I was always like, no, I'm never trying that. And then I learned about the Diva disc that didn't cause suction. So in the last, I think it's been like 2 years since I've used, beginning of like 2 years since using ASPEN Dienogest, I started using the Diva disc. And then I realized truly how heavy my periods were. Because you're supposed to be able to keep this disc in for up to 12 hours. I was lucky yet again to make it through 3 hours without having to dump it into the toilet and clean it and do everything. It was very frustrating through my second to my fourth time of my period when I wasn't on medication, how much I was truly bleeding and how much anxiety I didn't realize I had when it pertained to having my period. So, first period on Dienogest, barely anything. And the pain pretty much went away. I've always had, before I had the endometrioma, I always had back pain, lower back pain that basically felt like my back was on fire every time I had my period. I just took Advil. It wasn't a big deal. Past 2 years, my period decided to flip itself around and then also do back pain, but also front pain, which I never really had, which was excruciating, absolutely painful. I also didn't know that I also had really bad ovulation pain, probably since I got my period at like 11 years old. I didn't know what it was. Sometimes I thought my ovulation pain 2 weeks after my period was worse than my period cramps. They were also, it felt like someone was taking a knife and twisting it on my left side. Really painful. The first month of Dienogest really didn't have a period, wouldn't even call it. Sometimes I get a little bit of stuff on my underwear, but compared to what I had dealt with for the last like 15 years, it was nothing. I was happy and I was like, cool. Then the next month rolled around and I did get a period. But my period was weird in that it was like light for the first 3 days. I didn't even know, it didn't even click that I had a period because I had been spotting off and on for the past month. Really not a big deal. So I thought, oh, it's just whatever. Then on, I think the third or fourth day, I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting my period. It wasn't as heavy as what I had gotten before being on Dienogest, but it was more than what I had gotten the month before. And I was like, okay, I have a period. Damn it. I decided to use pads for the whole set of when I had my period because it was still quite painful with my endometrioma. Everything was just like unhappy down there. So I just decided to use pads. It was definitely lighter and it was easier to manage. So I was happy about that, but it did last longer. I tended to have 7 to 8 day periods. And with Dienogest, I think it lasted 10 because I kind of realized at the beginning it was my period. So from the time when I was like, oh, it's not a period, to, oh, it actually was, and to when it finally stopped, it was about 10 days. I hadn't gotten cramps for the first, second, third, fourth, and maybe even, fourth day. So I was like, cool, I don't cramp. That's awesome. The 5th day, oh my God. cramping really, it was bad. I thought it was just my endometrioma acting up. And it was quite painful. I remember being at work and I sort of worked through it stupidly. And then I remember that night I went to the bathroom because I thought I had to poop. Gross, trigger warning. And all of a sudden I sit down on the toilet and I hear 2 loud plops. And the feeling of my cramps pretty much went away. And I looked down to see I got blood clots. I mean, everyone gets blood clots, but this was something different. Very common when, I don't know if it's actually very common. What can happen when you're on progesterone is sometimes a whole chunk of your uterine lining, tissue and all, can slough off in one go. And so I looked down at the toilet and it wasn't just a blood clot. I was like, there's tissue attached to that. So the progesterone had taken not only my blood, but a whole chunk of my uterine lining off, which it's kind of designed to do. And luckily the pain stopped, and I noticed the next day my period got lighter after that. But I looked down and I was like, that's gross. I even took pictures, but I think I deleted them, so you won't be seeing them. But, yeah. I was like, okay. And I'd learned that's just a thing that can happen. There's a specific name for it where some people can get, like, your whole lining coming in one go. There's a word for that, but I don't remember what it is. Luckily, I don't think it was the whole lining. I think it was just 2 sections or something of it. But my pain stopped and it was like, oh, okay then. And I had researched beforehand, so I knew that's what could happen. So I didn't really have a period in July, had one in August, and then since August to now we're in February, I haven't gotten a period. I don't know where it is. It just hasn't come. And for me, it has been amazing. Like I said previously, did not know how much period anxiety I had built up over the course of like 15 years of having a period. I do notice that I think I still go through my period cycle. So I know when I start to get like moody at a certain point, so moody and maybe a little bit of depressive episode. I start to see that I'm getting acne like I had before going on Dienogest. The only difference is I just don't bleed. Is for me, like awesome. Going from the heaviest period that everyone keeps telling me that I have to having nothing. I don't want a period again. No thank you. If I'm not gonna have a child anytime soon, I don't want a period. I don't want one. No thank you. I'm done. Nope. No thank you. Dienogest and endometriosis pain. How has it been for me? For me, personally, it has cut my pain to like, if 100 is excruciating, 100% is excruciating, I'm going to say it cut it down to like 5%. It has helped greatly. It did take I think it took about like 2 months for it to really help my pain decrease. It took a while. It did take a while. But over the course of since I think like November to now, I don't have to take medication. I don't have excruciating feelings like I'm gonna shit myself. Excruciating abdominal pain. I will get sometimes every once in a while my endometrioma just sort of does weird phantom things, and that's been going on since I've known that I've had it. These like weird nerve phantom pain where sometimes just like randomly get like, ooh, a cramp, or like it feels like someone's tickling me under my skin, or I feel like itchy all of a sudden in that spot. But when it comes to excruciating abdominal pain, cut it down to like 10% or something. Like, it's nothing. It's not like it was. And I'm very, very grateful for that. In November, I went to see an endometriosis specialist and a surgeon because I have an endometrioma that was almost 10 centimeters, I believe. I'm not good at math, so that might not make sense. So I'm on the list for surgery. I have an ultrasound that I need to do in like March. So we will see if Dienogest has shrunk it, because Dienogest sometimes, not always, sometimes can shrink cysts and specifically endometriomas. So we will see if that's one of the reasons why my endometrioma pain isn't nearly as bad, because it's gotten smaller. The one thing my doctor said, which I'm kind of scared about, is Dienogest is known to stop working after like a 6-month period. But I think I'm on at least 7 months now and it still works for me. So I'm hoping I'm like that percent that Dienogest works and not the percent where it just sort of teeters off. So right now, ASPEN Dienogest is a win for my endometriosis. I understand that it's not for everyone. I understand that not everyone does well on this, nor is comfortable taking a medication that stops your period and makes you pump out a totally different hormone in your body. Totally get it. Totally worth it for me. Now, I do have side effects from this medication. I take it at night, so my side effects happen at night. It makes me sleepy, so that kind of helps me sleep, because sometimes when I'm in my going to have a period phase where those hormones are changing, I'll spend like 3 days not being able to sleep. So ASPEN Dienogest helps me through those 1 or 2 episodes every month. But I do notice ASPEN Dienogest makes me sweat so much more at night. So that's been sort of sucky. It doesn't happen every night. It was happening a lot at the beginning, and it has teetered off a little bit. But every once in a while, I just get super sweaty and super hot. And if that happens at night, the night sweats get bad, then I just take a shower when I wake up, if I can. Or I just take a washcloth and I wash myself a little bit just to get sort of the sweaty, yucky stuff feeling off, because I tend to take a shower at night, and sometimes I don't always have the time in the morning to take a full shower. So I just use a washcloth and some soap, and I just clean myself and make myself smell better and make myself more refreshed. But it just makes me feel sleepy, and it makes me do really bad night sweats. Oh, the one thing it did to me at the beginning when I first took it for the first 2 weeks, my emotions were a struggle. First 2 weeks I was angry at everything. That was another side effect I had. Angry, everything ticked me off. And I remember in those 2 weeks I was like, if this medication doesn't taper off, this is going to be a problem. But the emotional anger and frustration and being mad at the world symptoms have yet again tapered off. So I'm grateful it was the first 2 weeks of that, because it changes your hormones, which can affect your mood and emotional stability. So if you have issues with emotional regulation and you are going to try this medication, just be warned, you might feel more unstable than you normally already sadly do. But mine lasted about 2 weeks, and then I did taper off. I still get moody when my period is coming, so that is something that I have to look forward to, but that has always happened. I've always been moody like a week before my period, and I don't think this medication has made it worse or better. It's just, I'm happy it stopped my pain and my cramping, and specifically my period. I have been period free for like 6 months, which is crazy. I'm going on vacation and I don't have to think about packing any of that stuff or worried about having to run to the restroom to change anything, or if we go to the beach that doesn't have a restroom, I don't have to worry about it. It's changed my life for the better, and I hope it continues to just stay this steady. If you thought this video was helpful, it's not medical advice, just my personal experience with the medication. And with that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!